Welcome to our podcast. Two geeky ladies talking about issues in our lives,
relationship gossip,
and occasional politics, all while geeking and having fun. Let's geek! Hi guys, and it's season 2. Welcome back. Sorry about the delay, but we are here. We've got new guests, we've got new topics, and we miss you guys so much. Thank you to everybody who has supported the podcast. Thank you to everybody who has followed, liked, and rated us on YouTube, Facebook. Well, we ain't on Facebook yet, but YouTube.
To be honest, I don't
IG,
want to be on Facebook. I don't want to be on Facebook.
All our social medias, we love each and every one of you. And if you're joining us for the very first time, thank you so much for clicking on us. And we're going to start off the format. So, we're two geeky ladies. You know, we're funny and, sometimes, we kiki. And with every topic, with every episode that we do, we pick a topic. And behind that topic, we talk about how it relates to issues in our lives and sometimes how it affects relationships. Then we move on to gossip, where, we talk about some gossip news, just some fun stuff that's happening at the time. And very occasionally, there may be some politics. So when you think about POC, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Honestly, the buffoonery of 2020.
Yeah, a lot of bad things happened. It was a very eventful year from the beginning all the way to the very end.
Yeah, because for me, of course, all right, so do you remember when Black Lives Matter first started?
Yeah.
And then it became a forefront this year?
Yeah, it was, for those who don't know how, Black Lives Matter did start, it was started by two women who do believe in Marxism. And, there are some people that are a little bit hesitant, may not know the term Marxism, and I hope I got it right from, school. Marxism is when you live in a society that doesn't have, a level of, kind of how you have, poverty, middle class, high class. It's a society without those. Everyone's equal. It's not like communism, but it's basically those levels, it doesn't exist. So if you're a poor person and you're with a rich person, you're not going to be treated any better or any worse than each other. It's going to be equality, but not financially or anything. I hope this is not getting confusing. It's just basically a society without the levels of, class. That's the best way I can explain it.
Okay.
But that's what they basically believe. And what did inspire them to do it was, the injustices going around, and especially, what happened back in 2012 with Trayvon Martin. And of course, everybody has their opinion about Black Lives Matter. I know me personally, I do have my own opinions about the organization.
Right.
But what they are doing good things, that I will say, because they are bringing awareness. And with what happened to George Floyd last year, an amazing thing happened. A lot of people donated to Black Lives Matter to go to communities, to go to combating police brutality and all that. But the issue that I personally had was, where is the money?
What do you mean?
Black Lives Matter, during the protests last summer, they received a lot of money, Yasmin. And the beautiful thing about it is a lot of branches open nationally.
Okay.
You have Australia, you had countries like Australia, Jamaica, Canada, the UK. They're like, hey, we want a Black Lives Matter branch here because we have our own issues too. We are so inspired by the movement because I believe in Black Lives Matter. Of course, I'm a Black person, but just because I say Black Lives Matter, that doesn't mean that your life, if you're not a Black person, your life doesn't matter.
And you know what? I'm glad that you actually said that, because I think that was started to become the confusion in 2020.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Even when we got the height of Black Lives Matter, there was Latinos that were like, well, Latino lives matter. It was like,
absolutely,
yes, your lives matters too, but at the same time, it wasn't about us. And then you had the white people who didn't understand what Black Lives Matter meant. It was like, because they wanted to be included in that, and then they started the whole trend again, all lives matter. And it was like, what? And I'm happy
it's just disrespectful. No, what you're saying, it's just disrespectful, but I mean, it's normalized. That's how it's always been because, you know, right now it's called the Black Lives Matter movement. Before that, it was called the Civil Rights Movement. And you know what's funny? Back then, people were saying the same thing. Why are all these people marching? Okay, so what if you have to sit in the back of the bus? What's the big deal? If you don't like it, why don't you go get a taxi or why don't you go get your own bus? That's what they were saying back then. Oh, really? You guys are pathetic. You guys are really in your feelings because you're mad that you can't go to school with us. We don't want to go to school with you. Deal with it. Why do I want to go to school with somebody that's not my same race? And you know, want to know what's ironic? When these things changed, they teach us in school how stupid it was back then. They literally sat there with us. I don't know about your school, Yasmin. I went to school in Moco County and I went to school in Anne Arundel County. And they all taught me in those classes that all those things that had happened back then were ridiculous and they were stupid. And how they're so glad Martin Luther King came in and taught us all these things to know that there's equality when this country whitewashes Martin Luther King's name all the time. And it really upsets me.
Yeah,
because
I have to agree with you because half of the stuff, and you know what, let me get, it's a little bit sidetracking, but half of the stuff that I'm learning now about what was happening in the community even back then was through TikTok because Black creators are telling me the stuff that these books didn't tell me. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, what? Because the only thing that they taught you was Martin Luther King's speech, the small gestures of the protest that he was
MLK too.
Yeah, and that was it. And
Oh,
then,
and slavery. That's it.
Yeah, and then Malcolm X too. You know what I mean? And then you don't get all of the behind the scenes because you mentioned something to me about MLK that I didn't know.
Oh yes, some people do, and people can Google this if they like. When MLK was assassinated by the United States government, and just as a reminder, the MLK was assassinated by the United States government. A lot of people will say, "Oh, James Earl Ray was the one that killed him." Yes, he's the one that allegedly killed him. Allegedly, he is legally the person that assassinated Martin Luther King, but it was on behalf of the United States government. It has been proven that Coretta Scott King in 1996 took it to court. She won that case, but the media didn't report it. Yep, the United States government was the reason why MLK is not here alive today, and it's ironic that they hyped him up. Another thing that some people do not know, and this is all stuff that is Google, you can Google, right after he was assassinated, there was riots in the city for, I believe, 2 days or 2 weeks. That one I am a little bit iffy about. I believe it was about 2 weeks. Doesn't that sound familiar? Yeah, there was a riot after Martin Luther King was killed. What did Martin Luther King do besides say, this needs to stop? We are brothers, we are sisters, let freedom ring, we all the same. Yep, they blew his head off just because he wanted equality and wanted everybody to be treated the same. And you want to also know what was also ironic? 60% of Americans, they did a survey around that time, 60% of Americans were relieved. You want to know why? Because they don't have to deal with this anymore. Yep, sad as it is. So the only thing that we can hope to be is better. Of course, you know, I have this joke with some of my friends that look like me, you know, Black friends. And we say, are you more of a Malcolm X or are you more of a Martin Luther King? I try to go the Martin Luther King route. And of course, some people are going to say, what do you mean? Are you the Martin Luther King type person or are you the Malcolm X type person? As you know, us going back a little bit into these issues, MLK was about peace. He went through the Gandhi method, whilst Malcolm X was a radical.
Yeah.
He was just all like, listen, Martin, you could be nice to all these racist people and try to kiss their ass to get equality. Me, I'm not about that. If they want that energy, I will give them that energy. They're literally lynching us right now, which was happening. They were lynching people. They were shooting people. Police officers, yes, the United States police officers have a lot of KKK members in there around that time. I'm pretty sure they still got them undercover. Hell, they're everywhere at somebody's job. I'm pretty sure at my job, there's somebody that supports
them. I mean, come on, like, look, in January, but the Capitals, you know, with that happening.
Absolutely. And that, yeah, at that time, you had KKK members up in there. You can't call the police back in the 60s when you were in trouble, Yasmin.
Oh, I believe that.
You couldn't do that. At least me, if I was Black in the 60s, oh, I can't call the police when trouble happens to me. You want to know why? Because that police officer will probably kill me. Oh, you reporting the KKK? Oh, they came to your neighborhood? Oh, yeah, we'll do something about it. They go, hey, you know, the down the street reported the KKK side. Oh, they're reporting our meetings? Yeah, let's go pay them a visit. And what they would do is walk in there, grab the wife or the daughter in front of the father or sons, set their house on fire, or maybe not even set their house on fire, they throw a bomb in their house. Doesn't stuff like this sound familiar, Yasmin?
Of course.
Nobody sees the parallels of those things, because I sit here and I see the parallel of those things. And I'm just like, we are literally living in the civil rights movement 2.0. That's what this is a thought of mine. But getting back to Black Lives Matter, going straight back to that. Mm-hmm. The reason I do believe in Black Lives Matter and I believe in the movement, but the organization, I tried to remove myself from it because I need to do more research about what they are doing with some of the funds that we are getting. I am not trying to be messy before somebody listens to this and go like, Captain said there's something shady going on over there. No, I'm not. All I want to know is that I just want to see the numbers, like a regular job. When the district manager goes to the boss and says, how y'all been doing for the last years? Let me see the numbers. Let me see what's up. That's all I want to know. Mm-hmm. Because there's a lot of disorganization within that organization. They're doing great things, but there are a few people that like, it's just like, I need to know what your message is, what you're trying to do. Because it's just a little bit confusing, some clarification, but I do believe in the movement. It is important. Yeah. Latin lives matter, Indian lives matter, Native American lives matter. And, you know, I do want to do an episode in the future about Native Americans because, you know, Yasmin, I joke that for some odd reason in America, they treat Black people like the barrel of the bottom. If you see the shit that Native Americans go through, Yasmin.
Yeah. You know,
it's
heartbreaking. To that, the Native American side of TikTok. It's crazy because, you know, one good thing that came out of from 2020 with the whole TikTok situation is that a lot of people's voices, at least on my For You page, have came out because the Native American ones were the ones who told me what's up. Because, you know, a lot of us, you know, there's that joke that we always say, you know, when it's like they'll tell a Mexican, go back to your country. They'll tell like other
You can never tell a Native American, go back to your country.
Right.
Literally.
Right. And then like there was this one TikToker, he's a Native American, he was like, no, how about you go back to your country? And I just started laughing because I was like, that is true. And half of them don't even know where they came from.
And you know what's funny? I was on, and you know, some of the European listeners may get a kick out of this because, you know, we're American. Yeah. I don't know how I got into it. I got into Irish Twitter.
Really?
Yeah, like last year. I don't know how. Something was trending and it brought me into Irish Twitter for about an hour. And they were talking about Americans who claim that they're Irish. Like, yes.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, you saw that?
No, I don't know, but there's something similar that happened on TikTok where like people are like, white people have culture. And then somebody in Europe was like, no, that's our culture. Americans don't have, or like the American white don't have culture. I just started laughing because I was like, they're trying to, because a lot of them were saying, we don't claim y'all. And I was just like,
this is what the tweets were saying. And this, once again, I did not say this, okay? Irish Twitter said this, okay? I was just shook. I was like, wow, they were dragging. They were just all like, these Americans that claim they're Irish, he was like, they are such, they're phony as hell. Like literally, like somebody claimed that they work at a place where they get a lot of tourists. And him and his coworkers always laugh at the tourists that get excited because he was like, they're so ignorant. They'll be like, oh yeah, I'm Irish too. I can outdrink you. And me and my friends would be laughing like they really think we're alcoholics. They're just like, look at them stereotyping us. Listen, yeah, we're Irish. We're the real Irish. You can really go against us in a drinking contest. That's their joke over there. And then on top of that, they're like, oh yeah, my family's Irish, blood in me. And then they're just so like, oh really? What area area you're from. Legit, they're literally asking them, what area are you from? You know, just like they BS it, and they're like, oh, okay, so you're, okay, cool. So you're Irish, and they're just like, we don't claim y'all, no.
And you know what's funny? Talking about Irish on the topic of this, you know, I follow Jacksepticeye, and he's Irish, and then he did a YouTube video talking about like Irish accents in movies. And he was saying that most Irish accent is usually from the region, but that doesn't represent all of them, because he showed like different type of videos of different Irish accents from different like region. And I was just like, wow, I feel so ignorant, because, you know, here in America growing up and you're watching like these shows, they do this stereotype typical Irish accents. And when you look at the people from the native land and you hear them speaking, all of them sounds like that.
Like, there's a funny story that actually no, this is actually last month. I think this was like less than 3 weeks ago or so. I have a classmate, actually 2 classmates, Kenna and Daniel, and they're in Scotland. And if you're listening, I miss you guys. They were foreign exchange students that came with me to my college. So, you know, I still keep up with them, you know, occasionally and stuff on Facebook. But there was a situation last year where Kenna was bringing awareness to what was going on, you know, in the States because of the posts. So she was resharing our posts and stuff. Right. And one of her relatives hopped on and was just all like, Kenna, you're not even American. Why you keep posting stuff that's going on? And I swooped in and I put my 2 cents in it. I had to, but I was respectful. Right. I was a bit passive aggressive. Okay. You know, but after some clarification, that relative hit me up and I had to apologize. I was just like, you know, I hope you don't think I was rude to you, because, you know, your relative is this person and she was a classmate of mine. I would never be rude to a classmate's relative, especially online, you know. Right. And he said that, you know, I do apologize. He said that because right after you sent me my message, I spoke to my cousin and I was like, who is that? Because I'm just like, whoa. And she's like, this is a classmate of mine. Why don't you hit her up and talk to her? She's a pretty nice girl, which is why I'm very happy like that happened. And he is white. They're from Scotland. And I was able to educate him about what was going on. And this is around the time that George Floyd was, you know, doing what he was doing. I mean, it's like, you know, the whole thing with George Floyd was happening. I told him about ICE. I told him about Black Lives Matter. I told him about the shootings that have been happening, like everything. I was trying to cover so much. I was tagging him in video. This was 3 days. He literally told me to stop. Not in a rude way, not in a rude way. No, you need to stop. No, it was just like, this is so much information for me to take in. He was very overwhelmed. And I was like, yes.
That's what we deal with on a daily.
Exactly. Yeah. And to make a point, I even tagged him in some videos. I told him about stories like Tamir Rice. I told him about Tamir Rice. I told him about Trayvon Martin. Like, I was just like all these cases. Really, I was just
deep into yeah.
And I hate to say it, I even tagged him in some of these clips, which I did tell him there were trigger warnings and stuff. He sat there, was like, what the? And I said, exactly. I said, so not to be rude, imagine somebody is sitting there, you're going through all of this, and somebody sits there and says, why are you bringing awareness to it? It's not like you're American. I said, can you imagine how we feel? And he was just like, I am so sorry. He said, you know, this is a learning experience. Thank you for keeping me aware. He's a really nice guy. I've never met him before, but he's so kiki on Facebook. And bringing this up with the Irish thing, with how, you know, unaware Americans can be. He had posted an article about something that had happened in the United States. Oh, yeah. It was about the insurrection, you know, that had happened. And I commented on it, and I was just so like, welcome to America. I was just like, at least you don't have to deal with this crazy shit in Ireland. And then after, notice, Yasmin, I've been saying since the story, he's Scottish. They're Scottish, Yasmin. Yeah. But my dumb ass wrote, at least you don't have to worry about this nonsense in Ireland. And then I was like, oh my God. And he liked the status too. Right. And then I tagged him in it and I said, listen, I just realized I'm an idiot. I just changed it to Scotland. You're not Irish. And he goes, yeah, I kind of figured out what you were trying to say. So I was just being polite. And I was like, shout out for you being polite.
Yeah.
And not making me look like a dumbass.
Yeah.
I said, and this is why y'all winning. And I'm over here looking.
Oh my goodness.
Meanwhile, my cousin in England, Matty K, he's always like, none of this would have happened if you voted for the right person. I'm just saying. Just saying. Every single time something happened in the United States, none of this would have happened if you had voted for the right person. God, none of this would have happened if you. I'm like, shut up, cuz. Well, make wise choices next time you vote. And I'm like, okay.
Oh my God.
And right now, he'll probably be listening to this and be like, I don't sound like that. Yes, you do, cuz. Love you. Love you, Rachel. Oh, and before we even end this now, one of the things that I can say that's really irritated me watching the news, how the hell is everything Black Lives Matter? For example, I was watching TV and this white lady walked up on this Black woman and punched her. Yeah. Legit, she was a security guard. Huh?
What?
The lady was a security guard, and a crowd was coming too close to her, so she was like, please back up. And this white woman punched her in the face. Yeah. And this Black woman went bop, punched her in her nose. She went bop, bop. She only got 2 in there. Woman's nose was bleeding and everything. Yep, she got the right one. Do you know what this woman did after she got punched by this Black lady?
Tell me she go ahead and went and
she, you know, people were pulling her away because she just got hit by this woman, because you hit her unprovoked. And then the news media is around her and she goes, I got attacked by Black Lives Matter. And they're like, wait, what? Black Lives Matter attacked me out of nowhere. And they replayed the video of her walking up to the woman and punching her unprovoked. And the woman going bop, bop in the face. Yeah. And then they replayed her go, Black Lives Matter attacked me. I'm really getting tired of seeing this shit. So if you know somebody that's doing it, stop being friends with them. That's number one. And I'm gonna tell y'all to stop it. I would hope none of y'all that think like this would even be listening to us. But if you do, this is not the program for you. But this is about education. Yeah. So we're sitting here and saying, don't be ignorant like that. Because that's like me walking, a white person randomly attacks and I go, the KKK attacked me. Like, wait, what? So Yasmin, if a Latin person punched a Black person right now and a Black person said, I was attacked by ICE. Like, wait, what? The ICE attacked me. Like, bitch, what? Are you that stupid? Oh my God. Yeah. Nothing surprises me.
You know, if that is being said, that would create a bigger divide.
Yes, when it's happening.
Well, I know. This is why we need so transitioning into the whole ICE situation,
Dude, some people, I don't know if you know about this, they were doing illegal hysterectomies on women there against their will.
Oh, I know that.
Do you know how angry and how fucking evil, like, Lord forgive me, I have to put a curse word up in there. How fucking evil you have to be that you would do something like that to somebody. It reminds, and I'm trying not to do a reach here because we have to be careful how we describe things, but it just gives you Holocaust vibes. Because when the Jews were in the concentration camps, these sick ass in there were experimenting on them and doing the same shit. And this is what I mean by when I sit here and I see the parallels. And people are saying here, nothing's going on in ICE camp. If they don't want to be in there, then they should have never been in there. They were saying the same thing about the Jews back in the 40s. And yeah, they're constant, nothing's happening in there. They're just getting like a reboot where they'll teach them how to be real German. Some will come out, they'll be back. Really. I understand, and this is my opinion, Yasmin, you can tell me how you feel about it. Mm-hmm. As a Black person, I know there's an immigration issue. I do agree with the fact that you should come here the right way. That I definitely do agree. But also, I sit there and I listen because I used to be ignorant and be like, at the end of the day, my mom and my parents are foreign. It took them a few years to be able to get here, and they did it the right way. Why can't y'all? I used to think like that years ago, but you want to know what I did? I listened to people, I educated myself, and I learned more. I identify as a Christian. Y'all don't need to know my conjugation, but I'll just say I'm Protestant. The Bible literally says that when somebody needs help, you help them.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that once they come here, it's like, here's freebies, here's all this, here's all that. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we should do something. If we're taking in these refugees, if they're literally coming here for a reason to just get a better life, bring them in, just like Canada does. What's going on with you? Why are you coming into our country? They do it, they investigate it, you're welcome to America.
Part is, what's his name? Ted Cruz went over to Mexico to make his family comfortable.
Make that make sense, Yasmin. No, I agree with that TikToker. Make that make sense. Ted Cruz,
this is so
Cuban,
rich,
is out here being racist as to the Latin and Hispanic community, Yasmin. And no, this needs to be said. Talking about go back to Mexico, no Mexicans up in here, but a crisis happens in Texas, Yasmin, and his ass decides to flee to Mexico. This is the stupid shit I'm talking about. Like, we can laugh at this, but that's wild.
It was wild. When I found that out, I was like, Yaz went to Mexico.
You want to know what made me upset, Yasmin?
What?
It's that they let this mofo in. I was more mad at Mexico for letting him in than the fact that he actually went there. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, Mexico, what was up with that? For real? But it is what it is.
Talking about that region, because the thing is, did you know recently I shared a post with you last night about there was a Hispanic guy or Latino guy. He was talking about what is currently happening at these camps. Mm-hmm. The fact is, this facility is literally freezing these children. Did you see that video? There are now videos.
And speaking of that, children are also being molested along with the women in those ICE camps too. That's something that nobody wants to talk about either. People have died of COVID also. Yasmin, did you see that video? Matter of fact, I can't even mention that video because it's just too upsetting, man.
I know. But what I was going to say is that just recently this video surfaced about the whole thing that's happening at the camp where this child is literally crying because they are freezing to death. They are freezing to death, right? And then they were just saying, like, I pulled up, there's an article over here, right? It gives you more information. I'll link it down in the below where it's like dying of cold, ICE detains freezing and in Southern prison, right?
Yeah.
And, so I don't even know where to begin with this because the thing is, it's one of those moments where it's like you're so in shock. It's not real or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, when I hear something like this, because when I saw that video last night of that child literally crying because they're freezing and they had like it was like just a one blanket type thing. I was like, not only do you have these kids caged up and you're doing all this stuff in there, like,
my issue is, where did everybody's sense of sympathy and empathy go? Let me tell you how bad it is, Yasmin. I don't even know if you'll remember this. Maybe some of our American listeners, maybe in the Latin Hispanic community, will remember when this happened. There was a man, I think he was either Mexican or Puerto Rican. I do apologize if I don't remember his country of origin. He was about 22 or 23 years old. He had fled to come to America with his baby girl. She had to be 1 or 2 years old, and something happened and they drowned. And that picture was for about a month or two, a poster for the, migrants, people coming to try to hopefully, come to America and such. That photo just blew me because, I don't need to see that. Like a 22-year-old with a 23-year-old woman, and their child's gone. They're literally face down in the water floating. And you want to know what the most up thing it was? People were saying, oh, that's a real wetback. Yeah. Dead ass, Yasmin. And I can show you that photo right after this podcast. I don't want to be emotional. I'll try to find that photo for you after that podcast. We're not going to post it on the podcast for obvious reasons. But that kind of evil is what upsets me. The horrible things that people were saying about that picture. They even mocked that funeral.
I'm not surprised
That's what
that
y'all
they
get
mocked
for
it. I'm
coming
not
here.
surprised that
If
they
you want to
mocked
come
that
here the
shit.
right way, you wouldn't have, yeah, that's what people were saying, Yasmin. If y'all come here the right way, none of this would have happened. I don't feel bad. That's how it is. You mock a baby that was, at the end of the day, he put his baby in danger, but you're all about children's lives. Make it make sense to me. That's what I'm talking about. Make this shit make sense to me, how this evil is coming about in some of y'all, where y'all just lost your sense of morals. Y'all just lost your sense of feeling something for somebody. So I'm just sitting here, has the last year changed a lot of y'all to a point where y'all just are like, I like this feeling of being evil. I like this feeling of having this dark energy. Because I can't sit there, look at a photo like that and crack a joke like that. That's just evil, man. Can we pause for a second, Yasmin? Hey, we're back. As you can see, I had a little bit of a moment that I had to get myself back together because, I was a little bit in my feelings, but it's okay.
Your feelings were validated.
Yeah, because like I said, it's just not what's going on really, in this country. It's
too much. It's too much.
It's a lot to process sometimes.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All that. I'm trying to be strong here, as you can see, because I try not to get emotional over here, but it's just my stomach turned. My stomach was turned.
Like I said, we're not going to post that. If you are curious, you guys can Google that. We're not posting that on any platform of ours. So you heard about it. If you guys are curious, you literally can Google it. Like I had to Google and show her during our break. So yeah, so moving
on. I'm not. But I do wanted to bring this up because this news article came out, and this is from independent.co.uk. And they're talking about the Biden administration issue new rules to curb ICE arrest, since we're on the topic of ICE. Federal immigration. So they write in this article that federal immigration enforcement officers are prohibited from performing large-scale arrests of immigrant countries under new guidance from Joe Biden's administration. Immigration and custom enforcement policy officers, so immigration and custom enforcement officers will focus on arresting immigration accused of being national security and public safety threats, as well as people who recently detained at the U.S.-Mexico border, according to a memo intended to limit the broad policy scope of the agency. So, through the guidance does not prevent arrest, it marks a stark departure from Donald Trump's administration, which gave the agency wide latitude to make arrests under a 2017 policy that effectively targeted all immigrants living in the U.S. without legal permission.
Wow.
Yeah. Listen, one thing I can tell you what I was for when, because the last episode we talked about Biden and stuff like that. And, when we did talk about the whole politics things in the last episode, that was fresh. That was just like us raw emotion, what we thought after the whole election and stuff like that. But, one thing that me and my mom definitely voted for Biden for was this administration. Like, to imagine, I need to repost it, but a while back I did a small documentary of a girl who was here under DACA. And when I heard, oh gosh, I need to post that so y'all can get hip to that. And she tells me her story and stuff like that. And the thing that got me thinking when I heard, oh yeah, they're going to take DACA away. I mean, among many other Latinos who are here with DACA, I always think about her, not that I'm thinking about anybody else, because she is the face of what I see, because I went to a protest of DACA, you know, back in
Mhm.
2015 or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yes, I did. I
Oh,
had
wow.
a protest for because they were trying to take DACA away.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yes, and we went to that protest. I have at that protest, and then you, of course, you got these stupid idiots with the Confederate flag, and then I went
Of
over there
course.
and I got their interview. Oh yeah, I was just like, I'm surprised they didn't stray me away, you know. I was just like, yeah, I got their 2 cents. I got their story.
Ain't nothing wrong getting their 2 cents.
Yeah, but I was just surprised. I thought they were just gonna get ignorant on me. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
no, Yasmin, you shouldn't expect them to get ignorant like that. Reason why is because you're putting them, you're giving them a voice.
Yeah.
So they're not gonna get upset at you coming up to literally. I could walk up to them and just be like, "Hey, can you talk?" And the other side will talk.
And my thing is like with this, I'm just like the amount of people who are on DACA trying to get their education over here to get that shit. I'm trying not to curse, but to get that shit revoked. Are you freaking kidding me? And like he's trying to get this thing back going. And so when I read or see something like this, not every issue is going to be solved.
Yep.
No,
One
I
of
get
the
that. So at some point you have to live in reality at the same time, right? But to me, if you're at least trying to attempt to do something to push us in the right direction, why the not? Stop hating. If that's my 2 cents. I mean, people can disagree or whatever, but my thing is like, as long as we're going towards the right direction, you know what I'm saying?
we can be better. There's some people who don't know what the DACA program is. I do apologize that I can't say the exact acronym, but this is for people, who are outside the U.S. that are trying to figure out, like, what do they mean with DACA? DACA is a program for children of illegal immigrants. So these are children that were brought over to the States through their parents.
So DACA
Yeah.
is deferred action for childhood arrivals.
Yes, thank you so much. That's the exact definition. Do you want to say it one more time?
Deferred action for childhood arrivals.
Yes. So they are children that were brought over to the United States illegally by their parents for, refuge or whatever reason. So those children, after a certain age group, like, you have to be a certain age to apply for the DACA program. And once you're in the DACA program, and this program was actually invented by Obama back during his administration, because his idea at the time was like, instead of sending these people back, why don't we make them model citizens? Let's invest in the children. Let's start with them, the DACA program. As long as these children are in this program, they cannot be criminals. They must have a job. They must have an education, like, legit.
That's why a lot of people don't understand what DACA is.
Because nobody is doing research, and that's the problem. And when these people qualify, they pay for, keyword, pay for, and take their citizenship tests legally, and they are legal citizens of the United States. And, there's a big misconception that most people that DACA is just strictly Latino and Hispanic. That is very incorrect. Yes, the majority of these people that are in this program are Latino and of Hispanic descent, but there are Africans that are part of DACA and who are also in the ICE centers. There are Indians who are also in the ICE detention center, not Indian as in like Native American, India is in India. There are a good number of people who are not Latino or Hispanic that are in the DACA program for the same exact thing. But you don't hear about it because all you hear is Latin, Hispanic, Latin, Hispanic, Latin, Hispanic. When you hear about police brutality, what's the first thing you think of? Black people.
Yep.
If I hear ICE, I hate to be ignorant. What's the first thing, Yasmin?
Latino?
When you talk about ICE, does a Black person come to mind immediately?
No.
Exactly. But why is it the first thing you think of? To me, that's just racism right there. As effed up as it is, when you think of Corona, who's the first person you think of?
Asians.
Hey, fucked up, Yasmin?
It is. It's fucked up.
Completely fucked up.
Which is crazy.
And talking about Asians, let's actually transition into that, because one of the things that pissed me off, and I will call my people out on this bullshit. And for some of y'all that don't know, Ebola's back. And I'm mad as shit. Yep, Yasmin, Ebola's back. Yep, Ebola's back. There are 2 cases. I'm trying to remember what country it is. I apologize if I'm wrong, but I think it was Cameroon. Once again, this is not concrete. If it was not Cameroon, I apologize, but I believe it was Cameroon. They got 2 cases. And I saw this on BBC Africa 2 days ago. Yes, Yasmin, Ebola's back in Africa, but so far, only 2 people got it. So in that country, they're trying to get it under control immediately before it spreads. So the first thing that came to my mind was my people, because I did see, it didn't happen a lot, but I did see a few of my people kiki and crack some.
Well, it's here, it just says Ebola strikes West Africa again.
It doesn't tell you what country.
I can figure it out, but
well,
yeah.
Like I said, I think it was Cameroon. If it wasn't, I do apologize. But yeah, I remember, last year when the whole COVID thing happened, I did see some Black people kiki and be like, oh, yo, they got the corona, that's the corona disease, walk away from Asia. And I'm just like, we literally had to deal with the same thing a year and a half, almost 2 years prior with Ebola. I said, can you imagine if the people were telling us Black people, oh, there go Ebola? I said, if somebody right now said, oh, there go Ebola, y'all got Ebola, every single Black person and they mommy would be up on a screen like I'm doing right now, saying this is ignorant, this is racist, this is blah, blah, blah. So why are y'all sitting there making corona jokes on Asians? Make it make sense to me. And now that Ebola might be coming back, they better kill that with fire before it, because everybody was hating on Africa because Africa didn't get corona. You want to know why? Because we're in the hot sun and we don't mess with that BS, okay? We don't mess with that BS. Leave us alone.
oh God, girl.
No, seriously. Why don't they have corona? Us Africans are just like, worry about your country. Leave us alone. We don't have the disease because we use African soap.
Girl. Yeah. Well, getting back to it, I have been receiving a lot of racist comments ever since then. Because I told you this before, that there was a guy that I followed. What's his name? Anthony Padilla or something like that. He used to be the guy from Mosh, for people who don't know. And the thing is, he did a couple of interviews with a lot of Asian Americans, and then they were just like in shock that they were receiving racist comments during the. I know the look that you're giving me. Please explain to the people who are listening why you're giving me this look.
Some people ain't gonna like what I'm about to say, but it's just irony, and the reason why is because of the stereotype that goes on. Because I remember listening to another podcast where they were talking about the same exact thing, and the person, which I agree, said, I find it interesting that the Asian community is surprised by the racism that's happening, as if this is the first time they've ever heard of racism. And the other host was like, exactly, which is interesting, because when it comes to the Black community, they dish it out all the time to our community. But now that it's switched around, it's taboo to them, which is weird, because it comes off as like you can dish it, but you can't take it. And I'm not sitting here coming from the Asian community at all. Because if I was coming for the Asian community, we wouldn't even be talking about what's going on. Dead ass. So I just want to, before we start, I just want to put that narrative to rest before anybody wants to say you got something against Asians, because I do not. This is one of the things that I just find ironic. Asian attacks in this country has allegedly gone up by 1,900%. That is a problem in this country, and that is very wrong.
Yeah.
But nobody's talking about it. Ain't that crazy that nobody's really talking about it?
I'm not surprised.
That's why we got to help get this message out there. That video that was it you who sent it to me, or did I send it to you?
I sent you a video of the one at New York where there's literally this crazy white guy literally pushes an elderly Asian woman to the ground. And what's so messed up about that video is that
Nobody helped.
no, everybody was just watching.
This woman had to be like, what, in her
That was not a
60s?
show.
You watch a 60-year-old woman get hit randomly by a young guy, and y'all just stood there and did nothing for this woman. That's your grandma. That's your mom. And then you got these bitch asses that want to be like, oh, I don't involve myself with stuff like that. Oh, I don't want to risk my life. I don't want to blah, blah, blah. So let me ask some of you motherfuckers that walk around with that kind of energy. So if somebody saw your relative get their ass beat or somebody attacks your relative, is that response going to be okay for you? Oh, yeah, I saw your mom get hit by some guy. To be honest, you know, I know Taekwondo. I could beat his ass. I know I could take him, but I ain't gonna get involved. You wouldn't want that for you, so why do you want it for somebody else? And that's where, you know, Yasmin, I've always been here, and I say this, like, you know, we pick and choose, and we are all hypocrites, and I'm calling myself out, Yasmin. I'm a hypocrite too, because I do know there are certain things that I pick and choose to entertain and not to entertain, and sad as it is, somebody will be upset with me over that. I'm trying my best to be a good ally. I really am. But this whole thing that's coming right now, it's just wild. You know, some people can blame others when it came to the whole Chinese virus thing, which in my personal opinion was racist. But people say, oh, we're calling it the Chinese flu, the Chinese virus because it came from China. Yes, it did begin in China. It did. But how would y'all be rocking? Let me tell you how racist this is. I'm not going to tell anybody where I work for obvious reasons, but a person who was a United States veteran randomly came up to me just to, you know, chit chat at my job. And he was talking and, you know, he was wearing a veteran hat and stuff. Unprovoked, Yasmin. He goes, I'm sick of these masks. I'm like, yeah. He was like, these damn Asians at it again. I'm over here like, yeah, girl, right. I'm like, is he serious right now? Is he talking to me? Because I know
like, he ain't talking to me.
Yeah, I was just like, is he talking to me? Like, you know, when he just said these Asians, da 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 da, and I was like, pardon me, sir? You know, this whole Chinese virus, it was started by China, and these Asians, they bring it here. And I was like, sir, I said, your words may be a little bit harmful. I actually said that politely. I said, your words may be a little bit harmful. How is it harmful? He wasn't yelling at me or anything. He was just talking. He was an old man. He was like, how is it harmful? When they come to this country, they bring rats, they bring dogs. Yes, Yasmin, he was, I was getting so heated. Yasmin, you know me.
I know you. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
And once again, thank God for my mask, because I'm doing that smile that I do where I'm like, I want to, you know, that look I do when I'm like, I'm about to go in Facebook jail again. But I'm doing it in real life. Literally. So I'm just like, so this is what I politely tell him. I was like, sir, and he goes, yes. I said, I think it may be a little bit insensitive. I said, for example, can you imagine if people were saying, oh, it's the American virus? He looked at me like he didn't know what I was talking about. He literally was confused. He was like, wait, what?
To be confused.
And that's what I was like, how are you confused? I was like, can you imagine if, you know, let's say it had happened here and everybody was like, oh, you got it. It's the American virus. It's the American virus. And he was just like, huh? Anyways, it's not like, listen, I am not ignorant. I'm just saying it's China's fault that we have this disease. And I said, yes, the disease did start in China. That's all I said. I'm not engaging in that racist bullshit. He kept trying to convince, this conversation was less than 5 minutes, to be honest. But he was trying to put this narrative, talking racist shit about Asians and all that. I literally told this guy, I said, sir, I said, I do apologize. I said, but I'm not allowed to get political at my job. I said, I'm pretty sure you're not trying to, but conversations like this, I'm not allowed to have them.
Yeah.
And he was just so like, oh, I understand. Well, take care of yourself. And then he walked on about his business. And I said, and you a United States veteran. And that's the thing that be pissing me off too, because you got military that are, you know, in the military, it's all supposed to be about a bond, a brotherhood, a sisterhood. There's some hypocrisies in there too, sad as it is.
Yeah.
Look at that video you sent me yesterday of that woman that was.
Oh yeah, she was.
What did they do?
Yeah, for those who don't know, there's
Mhm.
I gotta find that video.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
she made a video in the morning, and she talks about like the stuff that was happening within the, I don't know what it was, like whatever
I think she was in the Marine branch. She was sexually
yeah.
assaulted by, I do apologize if I'm getting the ranks off. No disrespect to anybody in the military before we begin the story. So we do apologize for the errors.
But
Um,
but just to make a short story, it's just that she,
mhm.
you know, there was an abuse that was happening towards her in her facility. She goes,
Yep.
and they were supposed to but what is it,
She
retain.
reported it immediately, did
Mhm.
everything she was supposed to do.
And then at the end of the day, it was kind of like, no, we're just not going to do anything. And then
How
she,
is that
yeah,
possible? And he gets to walk away free, honorably discharged. That don't make no damn sense to me. Literally, they let him walk away they're going to let him walk away honorably discharged. Reason why? All his career, he's been so great, but we just feel terrible if his reputation is tarnished because of this sad thing. Are you serious right now? Would you be feeling that same effing energy if that was your sister, or that was your mother, or that was your girlfriend, or that was your wife? Run that same energy, and especially with what happened to Vanessa Gillion last year. What the F, man?
yep.
This is exactly what they're talking about. You know,
Yeah.
and this is what I mean, it's the hypocrisy of it. How do we put these things up at the front, but we're not doing anything about it? We're just sweeping it under the rug. Is anything gonna change within the military? They made Vanessa Gillion the poster child of that, of sexual assault in the military. All of this could have been prevented if the commanders and everybody around her had done the shit they were supposed to do. This woman literally gave her life to the United States of fucking America, and this is how y'all repay her? Let me see. Yeah, I'm getting heated again. So,
Yeah.
and the fact that her family had to get on social media to get this
just
done.
Yeah.
I agree with her. If my daughter came out, she said, I will burn this thing to the ground. I said, yes. My mom would have said the same thing too.
Huh.
Freaking ridiculous, man. And then another thing that I did not appreciate were some of the people who were using Vanessa Gillion's death to start some shit with Black Lives Matter. That shit pissed me off. It really did. Oh, nobody cares. Oh, I'm supposed to say Black Lives Matter. Look what happened to Vanessa Gillion. Don't nobody care. She's on the news. We're talking about it. What the fuck are you talking about? There are these people that love to put this negative ass narrative. Like I'm telling you, it's the same people that if I walk down the street and I so happen to punch an Asian person, they walk away and say, I got attacked by Black Lives Matter. That's basically the same thing to me. How dare y'all do that? Mm. And just as I check y'all, once again, I check my own people too. Yasmin, I remember that time I told you that I almost went in Facebook jail and I got called a coon by another Black person because I was defending the Latin community. Yeah, I was called
I remember
a coon.
that. I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember that. You told me about that. Mm-hmm.
And the guy was saying all this ignorant stuff like, oh, you want them to be your friends. They will never accept you. Look at this video of these Latin kids beating up this Black old man. And I laughed. And you say, you think this is funny? I said, no, I do not think it's funny. I said, I think it's funny that you're trying to gaslight. I said, that's what you're doing. I said, as if I can't get on the internet right now and find a video of 3 Black kids beating down a Latino man. Let's talk about it. What you want to do? You want to post a video?
Actually, around that time, that's what sparked the whole situation with the, what is it? People started going off during the Black Lives Matter. People started gaslighting that situation. And then Latinos came over and they were like, well, let me tell you about this video that was caught over there in Los Angeles about that Latino street vendor. All he wanted to do was sell a
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, and then you see these guys, he got robbed. He got beaten up and robbed. And I was like, this is not a tick for tack, guys. We need to stay together. This is not supposed to be a tick for tack.
Exactly.
Not a tick for tack.
Stop this. If you're a Black Latino, I'm not Latino, but if you're a Black Latino, how do you feel about this BS here? Like,
oh, the Afro Latinos?
Yeah, I wonder.
crazy.
I truly do wonder how to deal with that, because Yasmin, like I said, I have to check the people in my community too on some ignorant ass shit. I know it may be seeming like I'm just checking other races. No, you check your friends too. I'm about it. I'm not one-sided with it. If I'm gonna talk about one, I'm gonna talk about the other two. That's how it has to be. At least for me, that's how it has to be.
No,
this whole shit needs to stop. We're brothers, we're sisters. And right now, all of us need help. We need to be helping each other right now. We need to be sticking with each other right now. We need to be marching with each other right now, because if you go back to history and look at the pictures, you see Martin Luther King with his arms across with white people, black people, and in the back, you see everybody else. We all need each other. A lot of shit wouldn't have happened if we didn't depend on each other. And let me blow your mind, Yasmin. Do you know Brown versus Board of Education that was done by Thurgood Marshall? That is the reason why you and I can go to school together, Yasmin. That Supreme Court decision is why you and I can go to school and sit down together. Do you know that one of the first few people to sue because of segregation was a Latin woman? Yeah. I believe she was from Mexico. Yeah, she had children and she was trying to put them into the nearest school. And this was a predominantly white school. I think she had 4 children, or it's like 2 nieces and 2 children. Guess what they said, Yasmin? We can only accept these 2. Why? Because the other 2 are too dark for us to accept them in our class. Colorism. Ain't that wild? Yeah.
Damn.
And you want to know when I found that out? During Latin History Month, Latin Hispanic History Month. You want to know why? Because I actually take the time to do research. It was everywhere. Might as well read books and educate myself. And I said, wow. I said, thank you. She sued, and she won.
You know, and
Thurgood Marshall used that as Thurgood Marshall used that case as an example for Brown versus Board of Education. So to the Latin community, thank you. You were part of that. Y'all were the pioneers of that.
And you know, that's one thing I do want to do better in 2021, is that, you know, when I told you what I came out of 2020, it's the discovery of the buffoonery of everything. And I want to make sure from now to continuing my life that I continue to educate myself, because sometimes, you know, I had a conversation with my ex the other day, and I was just like, sometimes I feel so ignorant because hearing things and I'm like, really? And then, you know what, everyone's right. Yeah, Google is your friend, because the education system wasn't, but Google is your friend.
It's not. The education system didn't teach us nothing. There were Latinos in the Civil War. Did you know that, Yasmin? Because I didn't know that in high school.
I did, yeah.
I didn't know that. There were Afro-Latinos up in that were Tuskegee Airmen that were up in World War II. They were Latino, but because they were Black Latinos, they put them in with the Black people.
Yeah.
I mean, we all
don't want to talk about
people.
that. No, they don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that. But if all of y'all are hesitant listening to this, Google is your friend.
Yeah.
And then tweet me and tell me whether I lied, because I didn't. Google it.
So coming out of this, you know, I definitely want to educate myself, and this is why we're using our platform as well.
Yeah.
Spread awareness. That's what it is.
One of the things I want to tell people this week, I don't know how long it's going to be up. I would hope it's up for a long time. If you have a TikTok, or you're thinking of getting a TikTok, which a few days ago, they are highlighting Pacific Islanders and Asians, and they got a lot of Asian activists on TikTok that they're promoting at the moment. So you can learn about what's going on in their communities, and you can learn about all the horrible things that's been happening to them lately since the pandemic and since all this BS. Please go there and educate yourself. Whoever you are, however you feel, go educate yourself and find out what's happening before you reach an opinion. And like I was telling Yasmin off camera, for every smart person, there are 3 damn idiots. So for every positive video I will see of an activist, this is just in general, talking some real positive shit, I'm going to see 3 idiots talk about the same thing in a disrespectful, stereotypical way that makes you go, this is why I don't want shit to do with this movement. And y'all be the ones that ruin it for the activists that really want change, and that's what be pissing me off. You remember that video that I keep saying? That shook me when this Asian man who is Korean was talking about the injustices that East Asians do to Southeast Asians.
Oh, yeah.
He's East Asian. And he was talking about what his people do to Southeast Asians. And another East Asian, thinking that he was Southeast Asian, said something very racist to him. Yeah, and he clapped back on it. And he said, this is the point I'm trying to make. He said, I'm not even Southeast Asian, but you assumed I was because I was defending him. And this is that thing I'm talking about, unity. Where is the unity? And then this Asian chick who is the same as him said, well, at the end of the day, the people like you work in nail shops and you do sex trafficking. Yasmin, you remember? I was shocked.
I remember that. Yeah, I was not shocked because I knew about this a while ago. You know, the whole East Asian and South Asian thing.
I did not know it was like that. You know, I was like, y'all are this ignorant and divided towards each other. Damn.
Yeah.
That still blows me. That's the first ignorant ass thing she said.
The only reason why I knew about this is that as soon as you get into K-pop people, you know what's up. You know what's up with that community. That I'm not gonna get into that because I'm gonna tear that ass like in another episode. I'm just saying,
I'm gonna tear that ass.
No, because let me tell you, K-pop has changed. K-pop has changed for me. I don't see K-pop the way I do. I came out of 2020 looking at K-pop a different way. If you know, you know. If you don't, stay tuned because we're gonna get there. Because me as a K-pop fan, as a K-pop fan, I am appalled and I am disgusted.
So to end on this note, the whole entire focus of this episode was just to bring awareness to what's going on to people of color. Like, we all should not be dealing with what we're dealing with. It's crap. So instead of us all arguing with each other like, you did this, or you did that, or you did this, let's come together. It's cliche, but let's come together and do some shit. We are all allies of each other. We are all brothers. We are all sisters. White people listening, help us. You're allies too. A good number of y'all are right up in the forefront and y'all don't get enough credit. You want to know why? Because all these fools that are racist are making y'all look bad. So to the allies, we love you. Every single one. Allies of all color, we love you here at Let's Geek Pod. We love you here in general. We're just full of love here. But now we're moving on to Damn, bruh! That's wild. Where I find an incredibly crazy story from around the world that actually happens.
All right.
And
hit me.
So this one is from a website and it's called dysphoria7.com. And we will try to put a link to it. And I'm about to start pulling it up. The title goes, and the story is called, Texas woman thought she was dating Bruno Mars is scammed out of $100,000. So yes.
You know, that's really weird because it reminds me of the time when that girl did a whole storyline with her and B being together. B from BTS.
Mm-hmm. And then there's that one black chick that was convinced that she was in a relationship with Bow Wow. You know, some people are, sad as it is, a little bit naive. And this person is a 63-year-old woman who was actually just on Instagram looking for, some companionship. Yeah. She was looking for companionship. And she was contacted by a man who claimed to be Bruno Mars. And of course, it was a fake profile. Mm-hmm. So there were 2 men behind this whole, this whole conspiracy. Mm-hmm. The first guy's name was Chiwendu Azunowu. Mm-hmm. He's 39 years old and he's from Texas and he's Nigerian. So this is a band of Nigerian brothers working together. His co-conspirator's name is Basil Amadi. But of course, there's no arrest records or anything like that. This actually might be their first offense doing something crazy.
Okay.
Apparently it's not clear how the woman was convinced that it was Bruno Mars contacting her, but she was talking to Bruno Mars, and I say this in quotation marks, for a very hot minute. Like, it got so bad, it got so outrageous, Yasmin. The fake Bruno Mars was so upset with what was going on, and the fact that he couldn't see her. He was so lovesick that he was gonna quit the music industry.
What?
But the thing about it is, he can't quit the music industry just like that. So for him to make money for the tour he's about to miss, he asked her to send her $10,000 originally. That's the first deposit.
Serious?
Yes, because he couldn't spend another day without her. Yep. Because he's just like, babe, I want to come see you. So the fake Bruno Mars said, babe, I want to come see you because my heart, I'm so in love with you. But the thing about it, I can't just quit my tour without no money. Can you run me $10,000? And she was like, okay, boo, where do I send it? And he was like, send it to this first bank account. And it was, in the name Mars too. That was the account name. It was called Mars. Mm-hmm. Then he also called her a few days later and said, portraying himself as Bruno Mars, hey babe, now that I got the first 10K for the tour, can you run me another $10,000 for my expenses to come fly and see you? And this sad young lady, older lady, actually sent him another $10,000. So we had $20,000 at this point.
Oh no!
Then a few days later, I don't know, the article doesn't say what crazy story he told her, but she ended up depositing $90,000 into that Mars bank account. Mm-hmm. And that bank account, and the bank account was being overseen by the brother. Mm-hmm. So, of course, police got involved. The story doesn't really say how police got involved and found out it was a scam. Maybe she called, or somebody was just like, I'm going to call a relative or something. But police got involved. They checked the records. They did like police do. They go internet files and ended up finding it. When they both found the men, they both denied knowing each other. So we basically had a Jussie Smollett situation again. But yeah.
Girl.
So they both denied knowing each other. So both of them are in jail, and the bond is set for $30,000. And if convicted, the two men will face 2 to 10 years in a state prison. So what can we learn from this story? If a celebrity creeps up in your DMs, if you do not see the official blue check mark, maybe you should run away. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe. I think you should. Just
because if you see a picture of a celebrity and there's no blue check mark, you should be hesitant to be sending money. Matter of fact, I'd be hesitant if anybody in their life asked me to send them $10,000. Though, is it being sent to my college?
Yeah.
Unless
First off, how did it not come into this weird thing, where it's like, oh, a celebrity has to ask you for that money? Are you kidding?
Right.
You didn't know?
So I can only, good spirit.
Anything like that. I don't want to judge her or anything like that.
Exactly.
Jeez, man. For real?
Yeah.
That's wild.
It is. But at the end of the day, they're going to jail. They may go to jail for what they did. And I'm pretty sure they're going to go to jail because God just tricked an old lady at $100,000. That's crazy.
To be a higher sentence, though. That's 2 years? You said 2 years?
No, it said they could be doing 2 to 10 years.
Oh, sorry. Oh, okay, sorry.
So minimum, 2 years minimum, max 10 years.
That's wild. But it's not surprising in some sense, because if you've been around catfish, you see that they're all I mean, I was like, how did you guys fall for it?
I'd be wondering too.
Yeah.
The catfish, when the chick thought she was dating Bow Wow, that episode was outrageous when Bow Wow himself brought her on to 106 and Park, back when 106 and Park was on, to say, no, he didn't bring the chick up. He brought the chick that was pretending to be Bow Wow onto his show and asked her, because she was a gay lesbian woman, not that it matters or anything, but he literally asked her, how did you convince this woman that you were me, because I'm over here watching Catfish confused myself. No, dead ass. So, you know.
Lord have mercy. Oh my goodness. Thank you for that treat. That was, I just don't know. Like, it's one thing to get catfished of like a random person, but come on, the celebrities, like, I feel like that should be like a universal thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's one of those too good to be true, don't fall for it. And don't,
right.
It reminded me of that like lady.
I dare Drake to hop in my DMs and ask me for $20,000. I said, Drake, you and everybody in your camp can kiss my black ass. So I'm gonna tell you that now. Like, are you kidding me? Drake, bye.
Well, that was quite a delightful story.
Yeah, I mean, is there any celebrity you'd let creep in your DMs before we finish this up?
I don't want to expose myself.
Drake is open anytime. You know, Michael B. Jordan, you are open any single time. Jason Momoa, I respect Lisa Bonet too much to creep in there. But I'm just saying there are certain celebs where I'm just saying, if you hopped in there and dipped the toe up in my DMs, I would be welcome of it. So yeah.
I have a few. I just don't want to give ideas out in case they're catfish. So you just don't know. Oh man. Okay, so that was it for our episode. I had an interesting time, riled up time, wild time.
And I am excited for season 2 because, you know, we're meeting new people. We're playing new music from new artists. I am proud of the new artists we got this, you know, season. We've had a lot that are so kind to, you know, independent artists that were so kind to let us use their music. So shout out to all of you guys for believing in our podcast and helping us, allowing us to put your art there. And to the people that are listening, please follow these people. We put their links up on the podcast if you like their music and how to download it. Please follow them on Twitter. Also, as you do that, please comment, rate, and subscribe to all our platforms. We literally have our link tree in our podcast. You just click it, and all our social medias, you can like add yourself right there. You don't even have to look for them like in each corner. It's all set up for you there.
Of course, you're watching this on YouTube. Go ahead and leave a comment and let us know if you disagree with us and
tell us. Tweet us, do all of that, and we will tweet back immediately so we can have the conversation. And our artist, starting off with season 2, his name is Aris P, and this is his song Love, which I think is a lovely song to play given what we're talking about. So give him a listen, download, rate, all of it. Thank you so much for allowing us to use your music.
And hopefully we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Hey!
Look, I love it when you don't be bringing up my past. Mentioning my dad, we can have a conversation with no tensions in your act. White hips and lips made for kissing like you mad. With the type of junk got you thinking dipping in the trash. Known for living fast. Take a break, back up, then I'm back up like it's stitches in my back. The only thing I ask, love cowboy bebop, and keep it down to earth like down boy knee drop. Not trying to sound choosy, but goals over Thotsy, squall over cloud and hove over Pac. I'm a fan of Super Smash, so I roll on the block for your girl with a stink she can't hold in a box. Foes lying talk telling me they're fans. I stands like a Joe Star, about to make you put you on stand. A gentleman, but don't get it backwards, Lord. Never gotta try force for Lincoln, then I'm cutting with the master sword. Love. And this is everything I love. And that's on everything I love. That this is everything I love. That this is everything I love. I would love to have a weekend getaway. We playing in the bay, drink, chill, stay, no drama. Love it when it's nice out with the bay. And what's your favorite anime? I ask because I probably read the manga. I love it when we grill and my uncles let me chef. The family got together and it wasn't for a death. I love it when my aunties in the ways like I don't care what you say. Don't tell me no, you're learning how to step. I love my friends living full. I love my ex doing good, even if it's better than me. So you can see that I pull over Ken and Ryu. It's either Honda or Guile, and Men and Bison is wild. Blanca always on board. Some people think you can judge a man by the way that he drinks. Prefer cider to beers, and I don't care what you think. I use my idols for strength. I use my rivals as minks. I tap souls like they're coming from a sink. This is everything I love. And this is everything I love. And that's on everything I love. That this is everything I love. That this is everything I love. That this is everything I love. And this is everything I love. And that's on everything I love. That this is everything I love. That this is everything I love. That this is everything I love. Oh man, Peter Parker is the GOAT, but Miles is for the culture. Canada Dry is everything, but I only drink cocoa my sushi. Ocarina of Time, A Link to the Past, Don't Sleep on It, or the Yakuza series, G-Shock watches, Pokemon Blue version, Jason's the only Red Ranger. That matters.